To use substitution to solve a system of linear equations, what you're looking for, substitute means to take something out and replace it with something of equal value. So what you need to find is one of your variables that is isolated, like this y is on one side of the equation all by itself. Equals means it has the same value as, well, it equals 2x plus 1. So even though they don't look anything alike, wherever I see y, I can put 2x plus 1 in its place. So I go to the other equation, and where I see y, that y is going to become a 2x plus 1. Now normally I substitute inside parentheses, but it's like a plus 1y. And if I multiply positive 1 times 2x plus 1, it's still 2x plus 1. So I don't need to use the parentheses in this case, but I could if it made me happy. Once I get this equation, notice everything in this equation, the 3x plus and the equals negative 9, all came down into the final equation, but the y was replaced with a 2x plus 1. 3x plus 2x on the same side of the equation is 5x. And then I'm going to subtract 1 from both sides to eliminate the constant on the left and move it to the constant on the right. And I get 5x equals negative 10. When I divide both sides by 5, I get x equals negative 2. So I know that if I graph these two lines, they intersect at a point where x is negative 2, but I don't yet know the y value of that point. Well, I can take either one of these equations. The first one already has the y isolated, so it's the easier one to use. I know now that x has a value of negative 2, so I can substitute the negative 2 in place of my x, and then it's a matter of just simplifying that side of the equation. The order of operation says to multiply before I add, and so then when I add the negative 4 plus 1, y is negative 3. So if I graphed this line, the point of these two lines, the point of intersection is the point negative 2, negative 3. Now again, I know the value of y. Y has a value of 2x minus 4. So everything in this second equation is going to be copied down, plus 3 times, instead of y, I'll put a 2x minus 4, and then bring down my equals negative 20. I need to do the distributive property to get rid of those parentheses, so negative 6x plus 6x minus 12 equals negative 20. Now when I take negative 6x and add 6x to it, I get 0. And 0x I don't even need to write, because 0 times x is just 0. And I get this statement, negative 12 equals negative 20, which is false, and there's no variable left to solve for. So what that means is, since negative 12 never equals negative 20, my answer is no solution. And if I were to graph those two lines, it turns out they're parallel, because a solution to a system is the point of intersection. But there is no point of intersection, so the lines have to be parallel. Now this one's only different in that I don't have y isolated, I have x isolated, which means where I see x in the other equation, I can substitute 6 minus 2y in its place. So 3 times, instead of x, substituting 6 minus 2y, and then bringing down my minus 4y and my equals 28. Doing the distributive property gives me 18 minus 6y minus 4y equals 28. Combining like terms here, I've got this minus 6y and then also a minus 4y on the same side. That's going to give me a minus 10y. I'm going to subtract 18 from both sides of the equation to eliminate the variable on the left. That's going to give me, paying attention to what's in front of this, a negative 10y equals positive 10. And then when I divide both sides by negative 10 to solve for y, I get y has a value of negative 1. So it's something negative 1 for my point. Well, to find the x, I know that x has a value of 6 minus 2y, and I just solved to find that y was negative 1. Now, here's where some people get themselves in trouble. They do this. They bring the 6, and then they bring the minus down as a minus, and then they say negative 2 times negative 1 is positive 2. You can't treat this 1 minus sign as both minus and then also treat it as a negative on the 2. So if you bring this down as a minus sign, this is just 2 times negative 1, which is negative 2. I don't usually do that because I don't like to write minus a negative like that. So for mine, I don't treat it as a minus sign to begin with. I just say negative 2 times negative 1 is positive 2, and so I write plus 2. And so 6 plus 2 is 8. The point of intersection is the point 8, negative 1.